I have HIV. HIV does not have me.
Despite medical advances in treatment, social stigmas and misconceptions about HIV still prevail.
Like in school, they don't really teach you about like what HIV is. Basically, they use whatever info they had from like the 80s that says like you get HIV and then you die.
HIV is a virus. It's a human immunodeficiency virus. It is a virus that affects our immune system, specifically T cells within our immune system. But AIDS is essentially the end stage or the latter stage of an HIV infection.
Because HIV was initially discovered among men who have sex with men in the 1980s, it was coined as a homosexual disease.
I didn't know to ask for it for a test. Because I'm a heterosexual woman, I didn't think I could get it.
HIV can affect anybody.
Blount said when she was first diagnosed with HIV, she experienced shame because of misconceptions about HIV transmission.
I remember when I was first diagnosed, a friend of mine, or this girl I know, yelled at me because I kissed one of our friends on the lips. What are you doing? Are you trying to kill him?
HIV is not transmitted through tears, sweat, saliva, but it is transmitted through blood, vaginal fluids, rectal fluids, semen.
Jones says stigma from misconception continues today. He recently had a troubling conversation with a stranger at a bar.
The guy, says, "Oh, I stay away from those people. I don't know anybody with HIV. I stay away from those people." And I was like, "Those people? Who are those people?" He says, "Oh, you can tell. They're the dirty ones, and they're the ones that, party all weekend and do this and do that, and sloppy drunks, and still the shame and the stigma that HIV is a bad thing. It's a disease. And, diseases don't target people because they're bad or because they're good or anything. They happen."
Joshua Middleton said people's reactions to HIV depend on many factors. He said when he was first diagnosed, he feared rejection.
The biggest thing that I thought people would reject me for is because of the fact that I'm positive. If you grew up in the 80s and you saw people dying of HIV and AIDS, or dying of opportunistic infections related to AIDS, that would be pretty scary.
Jones said during the epidemic, news stations broadcast the daily number of people that died because of HIV.
I saw a lot of people die. I mean, a lot. I went to 41 memorials in 1 month. And that's really hard to deal with.
Jones said coming to terms with his HIV status was a difficult process.
I had to learn to accept myself, accept who I was totally, wholly, and completely. I had to learn to accept my HIV status completely. And once I was able to do all that, nobody can shame me.
Dr. Stevens said medication has come a long way.
If a person is adherent to the treatment and takes the treatment, they could live a very long life. They could have a lifespan of compared to any other person in the population that is not HIV positive. So we've gotten really, really far with treatment.
They've done wonders with me. All of a sudden, I'm living. Imagine that.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis is now available for people who think they may be at risk for contracting HIV.
We know a lot about the medication because we've been using it with people who are living with HIV, but now we're using it with people who are HIV negative so that if they ever come in contact with the virus, the same science that it uses to reduce the number of virus in someone who's positive is done in someone who's negative to reduce that chances of it making copies to create an infection.
Jones said HIV is not a death sentence.
There are medications, there's support groups, there's research going on, and people are surviving. And I'm one of them.